She said it's for all the right.
Last year, I went to go see my favorite boy band CNCO in concert. I bought 2 meet and greet tickets, one for me, one for my mom. They let you bring a friend in the photo with you, so I was like, hey mom, wanna come meet the guys with me so I can get a second photo with them? My favorite member at the time was Joel Pimentel. I was so in love with him, I was gonna marry him and everything. So I go up to him, take my photo. Some guy comes up to me to pull me away, and another guy's like, no, it's cool, it's her mom, she can stay. And in my ear, I hear Joel say, oh, cool. That means I get to hug her more. And I was like, ooh, honey, say less. I'd written one of the other guys a letter. In the middle of the concert, they would stop and read fan letters out loud to everyone. So Joel ended up reading my letter out loud to the entire arena. And I was just there like, go to bed, wake up the next morning. My phone had blown up. All my friends were texting me, oh my god, your meet and greet photo with Joel went viral. I was not expecting this reaction, but you're more than welcome to see the photos. Okay, so this is the first photo I took with Joel. You can see I gave Zabdiel a letter, and then I asked Chris to wear this hat. For Zabdiel, I made him a Hogwarts acceptance letter, and I wrote him a tiny little note on the inside, so that's what that is. This is the photo that went viral. I pulled Eric in on this one because no one was really paying him much attention. He seemed a little too withdrawn, so I grabbed him and yanked him and was like, you're in my photo now. Also, for some strange reason, Joel was really adamant about holding the O in this photo. When we were passing it out, all I heard was, give me the O, I want to hold the O, give it to me, and I was like, okay, fine. If you want to see clips from my concert, I have this video right here that shows when I got winks, waves, mentions, whatever. So you can go check that one out too. Let me know if y'all want me to do a part 3 explaining what happened while I was meeting the guys and each of their individual reactions. Also, just thank you so much for being so nice to me. I have never felt so loved before. Y'all guys are awesome.
To this day, this is probably one of the greatest manifestations I didn't even know I was manifesting at the time. So to preface, this person is a singer, and my mom and I are huge fans. So we were listening to the radio, and there was a station giving away tickets to see this person. I remember telling my mom, yo, I should call, who knows, maybe I'll win, and we get to go to the concert. It was literally just a fleeting thought I had, didn't think much of it. So 2 nights later, I go out to a club here in New York, and lo and behold, who do I see? This person. It was just this person with his bandmate, and they happened to be at our table, so I was like, damn, I should go up to them. I just went up to them and introduced myself and said I'm a huge fan, and then walked away because honestly, we're at a club, and I don't want to be annoying at all. I don't know if it's fate or what, but this person and I inevitably were drawn to each other and danced together all night.
I always said that this felt like a movie scene to me. So I was at a Halloween party last year, and I was talking to a guy around then, and he wasn't there, and I texted him to come over because I wanted to see him. And he was like, okay, I'm coming, I'm going to be there at midnight, because I had to leave the party at midnight. It gets to about 5 to 12, and I walk out in front of the house party I was at, and I'm just standing in the cold with no jacket on, literally dressed in no clothes. Out of nowhere, I hear someone walking up the street, and mind you, he's dressed as a Peaky Blinders character, because that's what every boy does, and he has a cigar in his mouth. Awesome. When he's 5 meters from me, he flicks a cigar into the street, then proceeds to grab me, and we start to get off in front of this random house party. The kicker was sometime during then, I took his AirPod and put it in my ear, so it felt like there was literally a soundtrack playing. It felt like I was in a movie, and it's my favorite story to date.
So I had this bully in high school, I guess we can call her Jenny. And this story isn't about her, so I guess I'll keep it short and sweet. She was the type of bitch to go, oh my god, and kind of make you feel like shit, that type of bully. And we were in theater together, and anyway, she had this boyfriend, cute, 6'4", curly brown hair, very quiet. And everyone was kind of like, why are they together? But they didn't want to interfere because she was Anyway, fast forward. I'm walking down the hallway like normal, just getting out of rehearsal, when I look, and I see her boyfriend, crying, and people are just walking by, and I have this moment of, oh, I shouldn't go over there, I really shouldn't, it's not my thing, I shouldn't, interfere. And then I sat down in front of him, and it went kind of hey, are you, okay? Not really. Do you want to talk about it? Kinda, yeah. Anyway, flash forward 2 months, and we're dating.
So when I was in high school, me and this edgy guy sort of had tension, but then I started dating this other guy and he started dating this other girl, so we kind of stopped. Then me and my boyfriend broke up, and it was a super dramatic breakup, and this guy dumps this girl that he was with, so I was like, oh, okay, so now we're both single, weirdly.
So then one day we were hanging out as friends, and we pull into my driveway to drop me off and go home, and I'm like, okay, bye, and then he's like, bye, and then we just looked at each other, and he grabs me by the belt loops of my pants and yanks me over to his side of the car, and we start making out. So I'm like, okay, shit. So then we drive to this like abandoned house thing, and we hook up in my car to the Neighborhood Wiped Out album. That was the music. The car gets all steamy, and he places his handprint like on the wall and then writes, I fucked like me. And then I wrote, no, you didn't. And then the next day at school, the car fogged up again after class, like after school was over, and you could like see the writing. And then the girl that he had just broken up with saw it, and she was like, and I was like,
I have two. Okay, so first story, my first kiss. We're climbing trees in the park behind my school. I can feel like he's starting to go in for the first kiss, so I'm like, I need to get out of this tree, or when he tries to kiss me, I will fall out of the damn tree. So we get out of the tree, the sprinklers start going off, and he's like, hey, let's run through the sprinklers. And I'm like, okay, why not? We're running through the sprinklers, grabs my hand, pulls me in for the first kiss, and then afterwards he says, how was your first kiss? And my smooth little bitch ass said, pretty good. I think I'm ready for my second one. And then I kissed him. I'm so proud of that. Second story, I was a teacher's assistant in senior year for a history class, and it was like fourth period or something, and then like middle of the year, the teacher tells me like, hey, there's a new student and he had a free fourth period, so I offered him to be your co-TA. This kid walks in and he's fucking gorgeous, and I did end up adopting him because he's more like a brother to me, you know, but I was like, I had this moment of like, this is the first page of a Wattpad novel.
So I milked my way out of being the YN girl in a One Direction fanfic because when they did their first album, they did a bunch of signings at Barnes & Noble's, and I didn't know who they were. So I walked in one day because I needed to buy Eclipse really badly and came in on the second floor, which was empty. And as I was going to check out, I noticed there was like a group of 5 guys and some adults in the music section, which I thought was super weird because who goes to buy music at Barnes & Noble? Well, I make eye contact with this one guy who's tall with curly hair. He looks at me, I look at him, we both kind of nod like this is weird. I go to the cash register and the lady's like, oh, I thought we were closed. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you were closed. The door's open, I just came in. She's like, oh, that's fine, you can check out. She goes, I thought we were doing an album signing and no one was allowed in the store. And I was like, I don't know, that's weird, bye. So I walked out of the store. Well, it turns out like 3 days later, I found out that the man I looked at was Harry Styles and the band was One Direction, and they were signing in my Barnes & Noble. And that's how I walked out of my own YN story from One Direction.
So this is so awkward, but I transferred to a new college, and there was this guy in my dorm that was so freaking hot, like so hot. Tall, skinny, beachy blonde curls. He was so sweet to everyone. And one time he was out of town, and I bumped into this other girl in my court, and we ended up talking, and we were drinking a little bit, and we were talking more about him and how he's so hot. And she's like, yeah, I know, he's so hot, but like he's seeing someone right now, I think. He's kind of got this thing going on. And anyway, we just ended up talking about him and all his features until we got so turned on that we ended up having sex. And he can never find that out. He can never find that out. There is no man on this earth that deserves knowing that information about themselves, not even him.
I still can't believe this happened. When I was 13, I was flying from Costa Rica to Canada, and there was a cute boy at my gate. Turns out he was in the seat right behind me on the airplane. I was in the aisle seat, and so was he, so he was sitting directly behind me. We kept making eye contact, and it was cute or whatever. He stretched out his foot and nudged my foot with his foot, and I turned to look at him, and he just smiled at me, like this cocky smile. And so I stuck my foot on top of his foot, and we went the whole entire airplane ride with our feet on top of each other. My mom pulled out snacks, and I grabbed a rice cracker. I was just sitting with it in my hand like this. This boy reaches forward, grabs it out of my hand, takes a huge bite, and then hands it back. And I was just like, and he was just chewing on it, smiling at me. Like, what the heck? I was instantly in love. Our parents talked for a bit, and I actually spoke to him for a bit too, but I never got his name, and I never found him, and I never saw him again.
I made an OC tag on the internet where I was the main hero who fell in love with his rival classmate and then flew across the country to meet him in real life, where our fans started shipping us, and then we fell in love, and now we've been together for over a year. So, you know, nothing much.
So I really love space. I had maybe 5 birthdays at a planetarium, and I once spent hours taping glow-in-the-dark stickers to my ceiling in the shape of actual constellations. I love space. I also used to live next to a baseball stadium, and the lights were so bright that I couldn't really see the stars that well. So this one time I was at this boy's house, and he had to drive me home because I didn't have a license yet. We reached this fork in the road, and he should have gone right to go to my house, but instead he took a left. And I was confused, but he said just roll with it, so I was like, okay. And we drove for about 15 more minutes, until we reached this old abandoned church in the middle of nowhere with no lights around it. And he turned his headlights off, turned off his car, got out, and opened my door for me. and told me to look up. And that was the very first time that I had been able to see the Milky Way in my entire life. And then he kissed me under the stars in the parking lot of this old church in the middle of nowhere. So that was pretty great.